Okay. It is 7 o'clock. I will call the Tuesday, February 13th meeting to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Trustee Grundon,
Here.
Who's here?
trustee McGregor,
Here.
trustee Moore,
Here.
trustee Radke,
Here.
trustee Saylor.
Here.
And trustee Zifler.
Present.
Okay, now we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with a moment of silence afterwards for all those who have died in service to our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. To number 4, motion to approve the consent agenda. That moved by Saylor, second by Radke. Was that right?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Sorry, hold on. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? That carries. Okay. Number 5, public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Mr. Hummel?
Yes, recording. I wanted to share with you an experience that we had recently on the evening of Saturday, January 27th. A daughter of ours, 2 grandchildren, visiting our house. The 11-month-old had a high fever and went into a seizure. We called 911. The EMTs from Rapids were there. The fire department was represented by Josh Mansell. I was super pleased with the care that was given, the speed with which they got there. And I wanted to thank Fort Edwards for the effort and the quality of service that we got that night. It was very helpful. Got into the emergency room, got the fever down, everything was fine. But it's pretty scary when you see 11-month-old going to a seizure. And thank you very much, Fort Edwards, for helping us out there.
Thank you, Mr. Hummel. I'm glad to hear that everything is going well with your grandchild. Anybody else with public comment? No? Okay. President's report. I don't have anything, actually. So we'll go into commission committee reports. Mr. Zerflu, Airport Commission.
We've been chewing a couple different items. The two important ones, MSA provided a brief update on the obstruction removal of the trees around the airport and stuff, and the Bureau of Aeronautics is pursuing eminent domain, and every time we hear the phrase eminent domain, there could be a little excitement over there in the future. The only other thing worth mentioning is we talked, not at length, but rather good discussion on putting security locks, and surveillance cameras, all kind of similar to what we're going to be doing down at Ripple Creek Park. And I don't know who made the comment from the public, Paul, maybe you know, but they mentioned about receiving a list of the contact information for hangar owners, making sure all the pertinent data gets to Wood County Dispatch and the police are sent there. They'll know exactly where it was. I'm remoted in that duty. That's how you That's all I have.
Any questions about the airport? No? Okay, Police and Fire Commission. Mr. Stewart said he couldn't be here. He did send something. Let me find it. Okay. Sorry, 800 clicks. Okay, the PFC meeting summary. The last meeting was January 15th, 2024. The PFC rejected a fire department applicant after hearing the background investigation findings of Chief Drew. Chief Warden agreed with the decision. The PFC approved 2 of the 3 promotional recommendations made by Chief Warden Lieutenant Carrie Smith will be promoted to captain. Firefighter Jeff Abley will be promoted to lieutenant. Chief Warden will coordinate the ceremonial swearing-in events with the village board and the village clerk Tremmel. Chief Warden was requested to bring forth recommendations for the 2 open assistant chief positions and the open lieutenant position recently vacated by the retirement of Lieutenant Katowski effective March 15th, 2024. The next PFC meeting will be on Monday, March 4th at 5 o'clock. I would say if you have any questions for him, ask him, but you'll have to email him. I don't know the answer. Okay, Mr. Hummel, Nepco Lake District update.
No, thank you. Very quickly, we talked before about the Nepco Lake and the possibility of some continued growth for Port Edwards, and I wanted to report that there are two homes that one has just recently been finished, another home that is going to be finished within the next month. So we already have 2 additions in terms of citizens to Port Edwards that will be tax-paid residents, and that's both on the east shore, on the far southwest side. I believe there's another home that has been started as well. So we're hoping to continue to grow that area and provide additional residents and citizens for Port Edwards. That's the main thing. The rest of it is getting prepared for summer stuff, and that's ways away yet. But I thought you'd be interested in we're getting some building done. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Hummel? Nope. Thank you. Okay, Chairman Radke, Public Works Committee.
Public Works, next January 24th, 4 p.m. here at Commercial Brewer Center. Just a summary that, little snow amounts, which is good. The crew's been out cutting a number of the ash trees down. You see them out there. Just that they have that disease and they have a little more time. We did not get the DNR grant that we had talked about last year, but the crews out there, they're looking to take hopefully between 30 and 60 trees down, depending on the weather, and if it's a little slower, not moving snow, you have to salt the roads, which also saves them do it some money in the salt and plowing areas. Also, just the other thing that was brought up was discussion of purchasing the loader, which will be in a motion later in the finance committee report. Our next meeting is going to be February 28th at 4:30 p.m.
Okay, any questions for Chairman Radke? No, thank you. Okay, Chairman McGregor, Public Safety Committee.
Yes, Public Safety met last Tuesday, February 6th. Neither chief could be at the meeting for various reasons, so their reports were read. For the fire department, it's been a busy January with 23 calls. They did an equipment inventory. Vehicles are in working order. And they're looking at the future and looking at the replacement, possible replacement of engine 3 in the 27, 28, 29 era, and they knew that they have to get started soon with discussions and preparations for possible purchase soon or coming up. The turnout gear application, the information has been turned over to the grant writers using some information Chief Warden has pulled together, and it's a matching grant of $5,000 to replace 20 of their turnout gear. Chief Warden has worked to update the officer promotion process. He has provided questions and streamlined the process. That was that on the fire department side. For the police department, mainly just their involvement with the school over the past month, to the point that they have purchased a handheld metal detector to help with searches over there, with 2 more to be purchased soon. The squads were serviced as needed, tires replaced on squads 1 and 2, and brakes replaced on squad number 1. And then the last thing in the meeting is pertaining to the motion that's on the agenda. So I will make the motion. Please find it and read it. Motion, I move to approve the proposed Community Officer Program Agreement MOU as it appears in your packet.
Okay, I have a motion by McGregor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Moore. Okay, discussion.
The only thing I'll say at this point is just that the emphasis is on the separation of duties between the schools and the officer and the definitions of when it's a school issue or a criminal issue. And that's the bulk of what they needed to line out. And this was sent through the attorney as well to look at these, so.
Okay. Dwayne or Nick, do you have anything to add to these?
If I may, Ms. President, I guess, I did review everything. We did go through this and, I'm satisfied with the, changes that were made after the second meeting. I think it's appropriate in its current form.
Thank you. Mr. Radke.
I guess I had a question, says that this, would remain in effect until June 30th, 2025, where it would be reviewed. My question is the school only committed until June 2025? And if so, where would we find the funding for it if they're only committed until 2025 after that? If they review this and say, well, we don't want to fund it anymore. I guess I thought that the other one, when we read it, although I had concerns over some of the stuff in the other one, I thought it was like a 3 or 5 year contract. So my concern is after 1 year, if the school decides to pull out, we're looking at trying to fund this position. Is there any reason why they decided to only fund it for a year?
No, Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and that was in the meeting too. I think that originally that date probably was moved out, but I think the idea was wanting everybody to be able to review it yearly, and it says that, after reviewed annually by all signatories. My understanding and in the meeting, and honestly, all those SMART goals are written for 5 years. The community SMART goals and the school SMART goals, so their plan is initially 5 years, but I think they wanted people to be able to review this annually. That was the goal. Does that make sense?
So it's just for the
So,
MOU to review it every year.
right, from whenever this would start up until June 30th, so that way if people had concerns with the MOU, we could come back to the table and say, for example, if the village, we felt that there was something not quite right with this that we need to rewrite, we could. I don't think that the school district would have a problem putting that date further out if that's something you felt was necessary. Nick, I don't know from a legal perspective if you've got ideas there, but again, all of the goals are written with 5 years as the initial intent. And when we're
Well,
talking about-
I guess what I can say about that is that, I mean, you can't, the school is, but the school wants it reviewed on an annual basis. And I mean, the village and the school have to agree on this. And so, the funding is one thing. To the extent, I mean, I guess if the village wants a longer commitment, but on the MOU, but the school isn't willing to offer it, then we only have what we agree upon. I mean, as it's written, the MOU is reviewed on an annual basis, but theoretically funding could be pulled if there's a commitment in theory or a soft commitment to funding for 5 years, but there's no contractual commitment to the actual money. Then theoretically what would happen is that the village would have to review whether or not they would continue to have the position unfunded from an outside source. So, I mean, that's always going to be an issue to a certain extent. It's just a matter of what the timelines are and how you react to them. I think for my part, I think it's valuable to review the MOU on an annual basis and see if it's working. I think my recommendation is that the PFC pay attention to what the school is doing in terms of its funding situation and then adapt the, how the police department is going to be handled to keep, I guess, to account for that to the best extent possible.
Do you have anything else, Lynn? Does it?
Yeah, kind of,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, trustee Saylor.
Okay, so by approving this, is that? Put us in bed with them that this is gonna move forward, or is this just one of the steps? The only reason I ask is because the school district was gonna pay for 100% of the time when they were there. And then the village was gonna pay half, and then Legacy, they were looking at a grant to pay half. Is Legacy out? Are they in? How's that gonna be?
We're still in the process with Legacy.
Okay, so does that, by us approving this today, does that mean that we are 100% moving forward with this? Prior to knowing where the money's coming
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, is Legacy waiting for this? Is this one of the pieces that they were?
No, Legacy, it's the grant funding process.
Oh,
from? And
No, so Legacy, I guess that's a great question for you guys, right? Like, one of the things we haven't moved forward with submitting the grant for several reasons, but one of them is the MOU wasn't in place. Tell me what comes first. I'm happy to do whatever you want. I mean, that's a great question. from here.
Legacy grant in different places. First of all, you gotta help me here, when you guys are working on legacy grant, chief is too. Is that when you talked about, when it came along, questions about 5-year, are you talking about a 5-year commitment with the legacy grant?
Correct.
That's what I thought, that's where you get
If-
those two
if
parties there,
approved, yeah.
if approved. Then based on, Eric's question, and I see it as, and then Nick's gotta help me on this too, if we enter this agreement, we're entering into an MOU with the school district. Not subject to any kind of funding, so therefore, the commitment would be for the school district and the commitment would be for the village. When I read it, be just for 1 year. Financing wise, funding wise, as it's written out.
without the legacy,
What?
without the legacy.
The legacy is not tied with this MOU. However, knowing legacy, they'll wanna see an MOU before you can approve the legacy grant. So the egg comes before chicken or chicken comes before egg. So I think we don't have the straight answer for you, Eric, but I think you know.
well, I think with any expense that the village does, we have to know where the money comes for
Don't agree, don't
first
disagree.
before we decide. I mean, I understand the steps and stuff like that and we want to approve it, but I don't want to put my name and approve something that we don't have the funds for.
I mean, I'm gonna ask a few more questions. And so I get it straight. This looks like it's for 1 year. I thought when we put our budget together for 2024, it was, we made sure there's funding for our share of the community resource officer and the school has put their share together. Am I incorrect when I say that, Diane?
No, that's what we did,
That's
but
what I
we, but revenues of 60,000 from the school. And
So-
I don't know if we'd be getting that.
So basically, how we set up our budget for this 24 is that, yeah, we're committing our share this year, 24 this year, and so there's, we're looking at the school committee and theirs portion. And I think we need this agreement that occurred. Now, this is how we set up our budget. I don't know how the schools do it.
But in our budget meeting, we also said, I mean, we did the budget, but we also said that we wouldn't spend that unless we knew Legacy was there. So, I mean, here's my question. Is there a mechanism for approving the MOU and saying, like, the language of the MOU is approved? We'll sign it contingent upon
That's what I'm gonna
funding?
recommend, is if you, and I know where you're coming from, if you say.
Yeah, I
approve this
agree.
and sign and I usually say it's subject to,
Okay.
and that should tie us more for the legacy grant, getting it subject to a legacy grant funding. So
I was
therefore.
gonna say the exact same thing, Dwayne. I agree
Okay.
with that approach.
So therefore, we have an agreement, we're agreed upon it, but it's subject to another piece to be able to actually move forward with the MOU. Does that help you?
Yeah, so the second question I have is, what are the duties gonna be of that person during the summer? Are they just a chief, fourth officer, and they'll be on the road, or what's the plan? plan during the summer?
So the hiring would be for a fourth police officer. So yes, the duties of the SRO or CRO could actually be changed between officers. So yes, there will be a fourth officer, they will be in uniform, they will be patrolling the street.
Okay, and then to follow up on that. Right now, we don't have, minus yourself, we don't have an officer that is at that rate.
That's correct.
So in the summer, are they getting bumped down or?
So the rate on there would be, that's with benefits, that's actually the money that the school gives us calculated backwards. That's actually not tied to an hourly rate. It's the 65,000 minus the 1,040 hours. What I would be looking to do is to hire an officer that would be of rank, similar to sergeant, whatever, a number 2 in charge. They would have the duties of number 2 in charge beneath me. The SRO would not be, or CRO would not be tied to that position. Again, having the authority to be able to pull somebody from that position if they are not a good fit with the school district. That answer you kind of? So essentially the MOU, we've had MOUs for the last however many years, including when, since I've been here, Dwayne signed the first one. And it's just basically, exercising the duties of what that particular officer is going to do with the school. But I will assign that officer to the school. That will be done with the school with, combined, I want to make sure somebody's the right fit to be there. But at the same time, I want to be able to pull that person if they're not.
So in other words, you're gonna have ultimate authority.
I will have ultimate authority.
Thank
It will be a village employee,
Thank you.
employee of the police
And
department.
it will not be Brandon or Josiah.
They have no interest in the position currently. That the position has been offered to them contingent upon approval. They don't have interest in a potential promotion at this time. I wanted to circle back also on the MOU, in reference to the length. We have to remember that either party can pull the plug with 30-day notice. So that's gonna be forever. If we're not happy, if they're not happy, they're gonna be able to pull the plug on the program.
See, that's where I'm stuck because I've been saying this since the start of this, that you're gonna hire a person that is gonna leave another position possibly, and then they're in that temporary year to year, 3-year, I mean, I don't know if that's how police departments normally act, but the last thing I wanna do is let's say Joe Schmo or whoever, comes or whatever, they quit their job, they move here, and then all of a sudden we cut funding that one. The school cuts funding. Or the school cuts funding because they're.
And that's what we have to assess, and we have to look at the history. Again, we're forgetting that we paid a fourth officer, whether it was full-time or not, for the last, we paid 4 shifts a year, even when we had 4 shifts a week of part-time employees, even before we had the 4th employee, when Officer Philippi was here. So the costs have always been there, they've just been presented in a different way. So we've been operating short. I mean, I haven't had a weekend this month or last month that was fully staffed. And now we're paying for it. We're getting car break gifts. And again, that's up to you guys to decide whether we can pull those finances together, but we're never gonna have 100% certainty. We're not. I mean, COPS grants in the 80s and 90s, that's the way they operated. They said, we'll give you the money for 3 years. Figure it out. Again, I'm giving you the safety in that I am going to retire. I promise you that. That's, we're less than a year at this point. So, any other questions for me?
Anybody else have a question for Chief Drew? No, Dwayne, you wanted to go?
Yeah, I actually, Chief just talked about it. I was thinking, I was involved when Clinton had his program back in those days, and yeah, they'd give you 3 years for a grant portion. And when I would talk to the village board and I was administrator, I'd say, yes, Eric, you're right on. You gotta, if you get somebody to the grant, you got a 5-year commitment. If you lose all that, the points that I wanted to show I was telling the village at that time is, you are making a commitment, you have to make a decision then to keep that officer on board, more funding, or you don't keep the officer on board. That's a decision you have to make at that time when the funding dies, is that, and I know the police chiefs like hearing this, but I have seen where I've been in a community where they decide not to keep because they lost the funding portion of it. So it can go both ways. And that's a decision that, communities come across when you come to that point in the contracts.
Yeah, it's no different than a school district when they have the SAGE program or Esser's dollar. Well, the Esser's dollars positions are gonna come ringing pretty soon, so.
In all reality, with any position, you run into that from year to year. Budget cuts can happen and positions can be eliminated. So, I mean, there's the grant part, but there's also the part where maybe you had a horrible week and messed something up really bad and they don't find you valuable the next year. That's reality.
Caleb, did you?
Oh, I was just
saw your hand
gonna
up.
point out that this is an agreement for a program, but not the employment itself. And I noticed that there's nothing contractually about when we begin. So we could enter into this and it doesn't say anything that we have to start right away, hire someone right away. It doesn't say anything. I mean, there's one reference to the 2023-2024 school year, but there's no start date. I mean, it could be the beginning of next year, school year. And so I think that, to understand that contractually, there's no begin date, which allows us some wiggle room to find the funding.
Dwayne?
And that's what we talked about earlier, if we make it subject to the grant. That still, if the grant doesn't come through, I don't see this as being agreed upon. Therefore, that's the other, you put your motion that way. At least you have it for a grant application, but you then still have to make the decision when to hire the individual on board. So that the police chief does not have authority to go hire somebody yet until that funding mechanism is all in place.
Would you like me to rescind that motion and create a new motion with that?
This is what Eric is talking about, and I think that would be something that even if you mean vote yes or no, I think we'd like to see that on. I think it fits in. Yeah, that's,
So you can amend it.
yeah, that would be the right thing to do, otherwise you have someone take an amendment to the amendment.
Okay. Judge, just go and,
Joe, do you have something? You look like you want to say something.
I don't like this talk back and forth about, well, they pull the plug, the officers go on. This is 1,040 hours a year in the school, is that correct, Chief? Correct. And another, you wouldn't have the business to keep him busy on the streets for 1,040 hours? Yes, so we got 20 up. So we have to make sure, do we want the fourth officer? And if we want the fourth officer, between the two, Hummedees, school and the village, we have enough for a full-time officer. And if the school decides to, I'm stuttering because of what I wanted to say, I can't. And it's a situation where the village, if we ended up with an officer after 2 years, because the school, let's say, didn't want the program or moved on to something else, we've got the stuff here. We proved that back in 2014, early 2015, when we hired a fourth officer. You know, if he's not gonna be in the school because the school wants to get out of the program, that's why I just asked Chief. We have the time here for that officer for 2,080 hours. I don't like to talk about, well, if one of us don't want it, we'll just send them packing, and that's the reality.
That's not.
Yeah, not a lot of people think that way. But that, in our history here, since 1962, officers were hired because the work was there and we kept them. I don't like to talk about, well, the school don't want to, or the village wants to back out, we'll just let them go. I'm gonna shut up. I'm getting too emotionally charged in this whole situation.
Thank you.
how should I amend it since it's already on the table?
Since it's on the table. You-
Just that's-
Yeah, you can amend
Amend
it,
it?
yep.
I amend the motion that's on the table to approve
Motion
the
to amend.
approve the proposed community officer program agreement MOU contingent on receiving the legacy grant.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to write it all down.
Contingent on receiving the legacy grant.
Okay, so there's a motion, an amended motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Moore. Don't think we need any more discussion. So, with that, I will
Madam President, I'm gonna request a roll call vote
roll call vote. You got it,
without objection.
without objection. Roll call vote. Diane, can you do that,
Okay.
please?
Trustee Grundon,
Yes.
trustee McGregor,
Yes.
trustee Moore,
Yes.
trustee Radke,
No,
trustee Saylor,
No.
trustee Zerflu.
No.
Yes, for me, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so the SRO MOU being contingent on receiving the legacy grant passes 4-3. Sierra,
And then our next public safety is Tuesday, March 5th at 5 p.m.
March 5th at 5.
Yes.
Going on is the elementary school, oh, yeah, all through,
The referendum.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, just
No.
not in
That's not.
the March. I don't know, this your calendar, do you
No,
know the
it's
dates?
it's the
Oh.
27th of February.
I think there's a couple different meetings.
They have multiple.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
on a different
Yes.
calendar.
So I think there's
The
multiple,
end of this month, the last Tuesday of this month at 6 o'clock. It's just for
if you want,
citizens, you know, to
yep,
Or
to go to, yeah. I don't have the dates in front of me, but I know they have multiple meetings for it. Okay, public safety is done. Chairman Zerflu, Parks and Rec. Oh,
that's you, Chief.
Huh? What?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, you're up.
Oh. Probably the only thing is, we had a good discussion on, Ben brought it up, the DPW guy, and we're gonna trim, correct me if I'm wrong, John, with your minutes here. We're gonna cut it down from, 3 musics in the park in a year down to 2. And part of the reasoning behind that is, we already have the fireman's dance, you know, as another village activity, and like. So. We said that last year it cost us $250 or something for that. Then also, he updated us, he's still working with the vendor for the security cameras, which will be, I believe he said silent. There'll be no audio, but it'll be the visual, and then they're on a 30-day cycle, which, just automatically reports over what it reported the previous 30 days. Next meeting will be at 5 p.m. On February 28th after Public Works.
So at 5, right?
Question. Thank you.
Okay. I lost where I was. Hold on here. Okay, planning, legislative, property and IT committee, trustee Grundon.
All right, we met February 6th. We have a few motions. I'm gonna defer to Twain on the first one. Are we bringing the Mission Coffee motion forward?
No, we put it on the agenda, was subject to, Jen, the owner of Mission Coffee having, reviewing, the development agreement. Her attorney didn't have a chance, so she recommended, and I'm recommending that this would be tabled to the next meeting, but I think we'll have all the data together on that.
All right, so then the next one we have, I'll make the motion to support moving the resolution for the WEDC CDI grant contingent on the acceptance of Mission Coffee Development Agreement. So are we still bringing that one forward?
I would say all these would be held for the next meeting because we would find there's certain things we found that in the agreement already that needs to be amended, and also the resolution, once you have the agreement, then the resolution's worthwhile putting together. So all these three motions need to be postponed to the next meeting.
Okay. All right, so we did go into closed session. No action was taken from the closed session. Our next meeting is March 5th at 6 o'clock. And I guess we look forward to an update and being able to get that done with Mission Coffee.
Okay, I'm still going.
That's all I
into
have,
closed
unless
session
somebody
for
has
the-
any questions.
Okay. So we're still planning on going into maybe going into closed session for, number 5, the consideration of motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session regarding to Ripple Creek Apartments. Does somebody want to make the motion?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, moved by Zerflu.
Second.
By Grundon. Okay, we have to do a roll call vote to go in to closed session.
Okay, trustee Grundle,
Yes.
trustee McGregor,
Yes.
trustee Moore. Yes. Trustee Radke,
Yes.
trustee Saylor,
Yes.
trustee Zerflu.
Aye.
Yes, sorry, that would be me. Okay, so the plan is to go back into Dwayne's office and utilize the table space back there. So we don't have to kick everybody out, even though it's not cold. It's not really cold. Hold on, we gotta move. That's okay.
We're moving back there.
Yep, you guys can stay. We gotta move.
Closed session, yeah. No action is taken, and then now we're going to closed
I think it's to update everybody on everything. Oh my God, I'm still plugged in. Sorry.
session. We gotta call them.
Is
Yeah,
that
we
Nick
wanna
on the
move
computer?
everything.
He's on the computer.
Oh, they're leaving anyway?
He's on a computer.
He's on here.
We'll sit down.
Okay, let's bring that in.
We can just leave it.
I no longer have a visual.
That's fine. I didn't know you done.
Don't worry, I got it.
I'm not sure what.
Oh, sorry, I'll split this in. Joe, you staying for this or what? Oh. No, I don't. Hi, Nick.
I don't know who's saying hi to me. I can't see a visual of what's going on there.
I'm not seeing anything either.
Well, now they're muted. Okay.
See what.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have money for heat.
No, we don't. Oh, sorry. Here,
Dude.
Eric.
Oh, no, I'm good. I was just looking for,
Oh.
Diane's gonna take notes on her lap.
Oh, they're just setting up, Nick.
Here, you will. Let Diane know. Oh, look at me being bossy. I'm sorry. Could you please move? Caleb? Thank you. Oh, they probably want to see.
That was very nice of you, Cable.
Such a
Well,
gentleman.
that's the
Okay, can you guys hear us?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Hello? I just tied to the mic in front.
Oh, yeah. Have to change the speaker
Oh, the speaker thing.
to
Hold on.
probably default.
You can come over by us. I took a shower a couple days ago.
Eric,
I
how do
guess
you
in
do
here with
this?
me.
Eric, which one is it? It's,
Don't
don't you have to hit this one here?
No, which one to, because the speaker was connected.
You know,
So how do I change the
I always
speaker?
saw if there's a female version.
See,
there should
you're a
be
lot
a
smarter than
I
me.
really but I don't say. I don't speak silent.
That's,
Two peas is odd. I'm better off just staying here grumpy.
Ooh.
Which one are the Smurfs with the grumpy?
Grumpy, I think they call him Grumpy.
Is that his name?
That's the shore.
Oh, that's Smurf.
Ah, What I should do is probably. Okay, we are back in open session with no action in closed session, right? Okay, so we are to H. Finance and Human Resource Committee, Chairman Radke.
Okay, we met on Thursday, February 8th at 4 p.m. at the Marshall Brewer Center here. I do have one motion coming out of our committee. It would be a motion to approve a loan for the purchase of an end loader. I think, I'll make that motion. Second.
Oh my gosh, hold on a second. Gotta find the right sheet. Okay, motion by, it's not the right one. Motion by Radke, second by Zerflu, discussion.
Just for, trustee Grundon was asking what we were getting for trade-in value. The old loader, we were getting $56,000 for the old loader. And our loan will be approximately $143,900, which is under what we by about $1,500, a little bit more maybe. Any other discussion or any questions?
I'm still flipping. Go ahead, Eric.
I just want to reiterate that that's a slippery slope. We started taking loans out to subsidize budgets. We're starting to pay for things, stuff that we don't have the same amount of money coming in. So for that reason, you know, my vote will be accordingly, but, I also voted no for the budget, so. 2 cents.
Anything else from anybody? Okay, motion by Radke, second by Zerflu, all in favor to approve the loan for the purchase of the end loader. Do we have to put the dollar amount in the?
No, it's just a little loan that, no, I don't believe we will need dollar amount, do we, Diane?
Well, I mean,
In
I
the
could
motion?
put for approximately, yeah, probably should have.
Let's say, should
an
we have a
idea
dollar
what it
amount on
is.
there?
Yeah.
For a document, we have to take to the bank.
Right,
For approximately
for approximately,
143,900.
do you just wanna go to 140?
Oh, 145, okay,
Okay,
approximately.
so motion to approve the loan for purchase for the end loader of approximately $145,000,
Correct.
okay. Again, motion was by Radke, second Zerflu, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed. Tier, what were you, sorry?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, that passes. Okay. Anything else,
So,
Chairman
our next
Radke?
meeting will be March 7th. And we're gonna have that at 5 o'clock. I don't believe that Diane will make that, she'll be on vacation, but.
Good for you, babysitting.
Oh.
Good job.
Okay, then, sounds like a heck of a vacation. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Unfinished business from previous meetings. No, new business. Reports from village administrator.
Yes, I'm gonna get a chance to write it down, but I like to inform the village board and the staff I'm working with that I have a good working relationship with the chief, fire chief. I'm working on the application for the grant. Also, the fire chief has outlined a few more things that he has on his priority. One is the SOGs. I will be working with him on that, on the SOGs, and then of course, some of the information that the board has given me direction on. Next thing, though, I do see in the future is that we heard tonight that the chief of police will be retiring. And I don't remember, I think it's this year.
It's like a year
2024.
from now.
Right, and so I think that's something I want to work with him on. I think we should not just wait till he retires. We should have some game plan and some discussion for that portion. So I want to let you know that's going to be one of the things on my agenda. The other one is that you have me, retain me, you said for at least a year. One of the other thing is the actual how to come up with the transition of not having myself here as a consultant and how the village is gonna be operating in the future. Whether I can recommend it would be a part-time or whatever we come up with, the administrative form of structure. Those are the things I think is on my agenda. I want to start with them, start getting things, the game plan together, have discussions. So I want you to know I'll be doing that. And if you hear me stuff out that I'm talking to different people, that's what I'm working on.
Any questions for Dwayne? Reports from clerk treasurer.
No, nothing.
Nothing? All right. Trustee comments? No? Okay. The only thing that I'm going to say is, oh my gosh, I emailed it. Chairman, just make sure that you're communicating like packets out if you know that we're voting on something. Sorry, I should have done this in president's report and I forgot. Just making sure that we're all getting the information ahead of time so that we can look at it appropriately, you know, within appropriate amount of time. And then just making sure that somebody is taking minutes at your meetings so that that part gets done.
Let me follow up on that. When I came back, I didn't know how you're operating when I was here last time. When we have a committee meeting or a board meeting, it's not, I know you need that information, your packet ahead of time. Sometimes I see you walk in the door here and you just get it in front of the time. The efforts, and we work with staff is once we have the agenda, we like to have a packet of information. You can do it by email, so you have it ahead of time. So you're not walking in here looking at a portion. I did that when I was here last time. I think that was maybe done when Ray was here, and when he left, that maybe didn't happen. So that's what Betsy and I are trying to talk about.
Can I just say that Kim does put the packets on the website when she puts
On the
the
website.
agenda on, or when she gets everything for the packet. Sometimes
Okay.
she doesn't get anything till the day of, you know,
Okay.
so yeah.
Yeah, so
So it's important, and who's ever working in the minutes, or I working with Ann Kim, or we try to get the very documents we have, try to get them to us earlier so they don't come out as the agenda. It's just working together.
that's all. Okay. Anybody else for trustee comments? Sorry. Committee calendar. Okay. I do not have this in order, so you will just have to bear with me here. Public, oh my God. We're gonna have a long night. Parks and Rec, February 28th at 5. Public Works is the same day at 4:30.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Public Safety, March 5th at 5.
Yes.
FHR, March 7th at 5.
Yes.
7th. Pitt, what was your day? That's the one I didn't get.
March 6th.
March 5th at 6. Okay, so we have 2 days. Double meetings. Okay. All right, with nothing else, no objection, I will adjourn the meeting at 8:16.